Right, so here we go again. Another exciting installment of Prison Architect, the alpha release videos. This time we're bringing you Alpha 17.
Alpha 17. Wow.
17 long months of working on this beast, this
Yeah.
behemoth.
Do you see anything new?
Do I see anything? Ah, it's an armory!
There's an armory.
What
there's
is
an
these? They're
armory.
bees. They're not bees, are they tasers?
They're tasers, mate.
What's that? Is that a, what is that? Is that a baseball
That's
bat?
like that's a truncheon, a nightstick.
Yeah.
There's a shotgun, a boomstick, mate.
Boomstick.
Yeah. There's a
sniper rifle.
Sniper rifle. Yeah. There's
Body armor.
body armor. Yeah.
Some
I
lockers
probably
at the
set
back
some
there.
bad expectations up there because you can't have all those guns in the game yet.
Teasing the fans again. Mate.
Yeah, but
Teasing
we'll
them.
get there. And there are guard lockers. This is a new room type, right? So you can create an armory, and it needs to have weapons racks and it needs to have guard lockers.
Right.
And once you have these things, you can deploy armed guards to your prison.
Really?
Right? Yeah. And why would you want to deploy armed guards to your prison? Well, let's put one in, shall we?
You want to blow shit up, man?
No, you don't. They don't blow shit up.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's our armed guard. Isn't he cool?
He is cool.
You can see that his weapon is stowed on his back.
Okay.
Let's send him into this canteen. Right. Now,
Put in a few other.
you might have noticed there that when the armed guards went into this canteen, it was a bit rowdy when they went in.
Yes, I was wondering about that.
It was a bit rowdy, and then once the armed guards walked in, everyone's gone quiet.
Funny that, isn't it?
And they're all just eating peacefully.
Yeah. What's that one doing in the bottom right? He's
No
just
one's causing
staring at Wolven. He's just staring at him. He's staring him out.
No one's causing any trouble now, are they?
You eating your gruel, Wolven? You eating your gruel?
Yeah,
That is
so
pretty
what's
intimidating,
happening
that.
here then is that these armed guards, right, because they're armed and because prisoners know they're going to get their heads blown off if they play their cards wrongly,
Yeah.
these guys have a tremendous intimidating effect on prisoners around them.
Right.
Right? Prisoners are scared by these guys.
Okay.
But in the same breath as that, if two prisoners started fighting in here, it doesn't necessarily mean these armed guards are just going to suddenly go like, yeah, boom, boom,
Right,
you know,
right,
because it's
right.
just not how it works, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
reality is that they create an intimidation effect, but they will not shoot your prisoners dead unless you give them explicit permission to do so.
Right.
You,
right.
the player, have to handle the responsibility of when to use lethal force for your armed guards.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good, man. That sounds good. Like rules of engagement.
Yeah, rules of engagement. So, a common use for them would be to create some armed patrols, like this,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah.
And those two guards, you could assign them to an armed patrol, and
Yeah.
they will just walk around the yard looking mean.
Okay, yeah. Looking badass.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have this thing called a suppression effect, right?
Right.
You get it
Yeah,
when a
yeah,
prisoner
solitary.
misbehaves and gets thrown in solitary.
Yeah.
They get suppressed. They get kind of beaten down by the system, effectively.
Yeah.
And you don't get much of it because there aren't usually many prisoners in solitary. There's one.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You can see he's heavily suppressed.
Yeah.
Your armed guards create the suppression effect on every prisoner nearby.
Okay.
Right? So the prisoners that are constantly seeing armed guards all around them, they're just going to be suppressed all the time.
Yeah.
And that has a corresponding effect on their morale.
Right.
They don't. Now we're treading into ground here where we haven't really finished the end game of the system yet. So there isn't really any concept of like reform in your prisoners yet.
Yeah. Not in the
But-
game, only in our minds.
Only in our minds. But if you built a prison that everyone was suppressed heavily and there were armed guards everywhere, and you ruled the place by hard force all the time, your prisoners would never really be amenable to education programs or reform programs of any kind.
Yeah, it's like when you think back to that really strict teacher, and you didn't learn things because you were so terrified.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not learning anything, right? Because
Exactly.
you're scared that you're going to, you've not written a correct entry in your homework diary or whatever it was at your school.
Yeah, exactly that, and you'll get held for detention.
Yeah.
But they are a very effective form of crowd control, and especially after a major incident or something like that, you can deploy armed guards.
Right.
And it really locks down the place. Like sometimes you get fights occur, and then it looks like it's gonna lead into a full-scale riot.
Okay,
If you deploy
okay.
some riot guards quickly, you can stop it. The
Yeah,
second most
okay.
common use for them would be to deploy an armed guard all the way out here by your
Okay.
entrance. Right, someone needs to open that door. Let's put some guards down there.
What's that big weird shadow? Seems to be cast by that tree.
It's a tree, isn't it? That
Is that tree?
appears to be casting a giant rectangular shadow over the area.
Today's bug.
So an armed guard outside your front door, for example, is a good idea because he will, it stops anybody from escaping.
Yeah.
It's like a last line of defense. It's like a base defense,
Yeah.
And you could have him you could have him like this the whole time, I suppose.
So he's weapons free now. So that means that if anyone comes into his sphere of influence, he's going to blow him away.
If he sees a misbehaving prisoner, if he sees an escaping prisoner making a run for it, I've given him permission to shoot by clicking that button, right? If I unclick that button and I take away his permission to shoot, he'll stow his weapon and he'll do his best with fists.
So can he only shoot like maximum security prisoners, or will he just shoot anybody?
He will shout warnings at prisoners if they're smashing up their cell. He won't just walk in and blow their face off.
Yeah, okay. But on the front door,
if they're escaping and if they're outside the jail, which is what this area is, he'll shoot.
Okay.
Because they're outside the jail, right? They're a few meters away from a full-on escape. If you click the weapons free button, he will shoot them at that point.
Okay.
But if you're inside the prison and a couple of prisoners start fighting, for example, he won't just go up and shoot the first and then reload and shoot the second.
that wouldn't be right.
No, that would be too extreme. He'll shout warnings at them, and if they attack him, he'll shoot. And if they attack staff members, he'll shoot. But the rest of the time, he'll shout warnings. And again,
what happens if staff members attack him?
Well, staff members don't attack other staff members.
Okay. Other than at the Christmas party. DLC.
The Christmas party DLC. Where
Prison Architect Christmas party DLC the day after.
Yeah, the armed guards all get drunk.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we look at a scenario of armed guards in action?
Let's turn it up to the max.
Yeah.
Can we turn it up to the max? The real extreme?
Let's go to an extreme scenario. All right, here we go. We have an extreme scenario here.
There's a riot underway. 87 prisoners rioting.
We have 87 prisoners rioting. More to the point, these are maximum security prisoners, right? You can see they take no prisoners. Right? This is a slightly contrived riot scenario that we've created for testing purposes. But you get the idea. These guys are not in the mood to talk.
Yeah.
Really.
And normally you would just send in your riot guards in here now, right?
Riot guards is a very good way to suppress this crowd. A very good way to stop the riot. But for the purposes of demonstrating our armed guards, I think that it's a good scenario.
Well, now we've got another option, right? You can use your riot guards, or you can use your armed guards. So let's send in some armed guards.
Absolutely.
Hoorah!
Come back here. All right, so a couple of armed guards. So let's see what happens. Let's send them in without giving them permission to fire.
It's going to get messy, man.
So I have not given them permission to fire.
You haven't given them permission to fire?
Because I want to see what happens if you don't. So you can see that their weapons are still stowed and they're fighting with their fists. Yeah?
Well, they must be angry with you, man. I've got a shotgun on my back and I'm...
Exactly. It's like, let me free, man. Let me free.
I'm injured. Give me the keys, man. Give me the keys. They're dying, man. Get them out of there.
Now you may have. They did actually fire, didn't they? Right at the end there. Like when they feared for their lives, they got their shotguns out anyway. Even though I haven't ticked the weapons free button, if they think they're about to die, they will fire anyway.
Mate, you've done an amazing thing. You've encoded human nature.
I've encoded human nature. Right? There's no point. You can't deploy an armed guard and seriously expect him not to shoot if his life's in danger.
Yeah.
Right? So that was obviously that was a disaster.
That was a catastrophe, really.
And now there are shotguns in the riot. And
so what happens if you set them weapons free?
Should we have a look?
Yeah, let's have a look.
All right. This might go a little bit.
Are there even any prisoners in there?
Yeah, it's fog of war out. You can't see inside.
Oh, okay.
This might go a little bit natural born killers on us. Right, I've given them weapons free.
Weapons free. Boom! There's no messing around now. Boom! Yeah.
Now they still won't just shoot everyone.
They look at the shotgun blast in the wall.
Yeah.
That's wicked, man.
Oh, there you go. That was a warning. He got a warning. Oh, and he didn't obey it.
C%ZS is a warning, is it?
That's a swear word.
Okay.
It's the same warning that other guards shout. Oh, see, now they're attacking the armed guards, so they're not going to get any warning. If they're attacking the armed guards, they don't get any warning. Right?
Hey, it's fair enough, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But if they're just smashing up some walls and things... See, the thing is, the armed guards are now just basically intimidating all the other prisoners to the extent where they've got no choice but to attack, right? I mean, every prisoner's attacking at this point.
They're intimidating them to the point they attack.
I used the wrong words there. They're angering the prisoners.
Aggravating them. They're so angry.
Them. Yeah, exactly.
So this is quite an extreme scenario.
It's a pretty extreme scenario. And we should make it clear we're demonstrating the armed guards here, rather than suggesting this as a legitimate strategy.
Yeah, okay. But it's probably quite good fun to play, right?
It's a lot of fun to play, I've got to admit, but this is not a good way to put down your riot.
Yeah. You know this is a video where they're going to be showing and saying Prison Architect is dangerous and bad and rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're going to be. This is for our Daily Mail article, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a contrived extreme example with maximum security prisoners, and they did shout warnings at some of the first guys that were just smashing up their cells and things, but the warnings were not obeyed.
So would I be right in thinking that if this was a minimum security ward or wing rather, they would be more likely to comply with the warnings?
Correct. And when they got the warnings, they would surrender, and then they would be handcuffed. Okay, so there's a second fairly major downside to having armed guards in your prison.
Right.
And this is what it is. Right, now here's a fairly ordinary prison in which we have decided to deploy armed guards.
A standard prison in a neighbourhood near you.
Our standard test prison. What I'm going to do is I'm going to artificially spike their freedom need, which will drive them...
You're going to poke them with a stick?
Yeah, it will drive them up the wall. Now, while they decide to get all angry, let's talk about the armory, right? You have to have an armory on site if you want to have armed guards. I explained that earlier. You have to have weapons racks and you have to have guard lockers. What do you think the prisoners will do when there's a riot?
I think they'll try and break into the armory. Here they come. They're making a beeline for the armory.
Yeah, so when there's a riot, some, not all, but your most violent, your most dangerous prisoners...
Oh, that's not what you want.
...will make a beeline for your armory. And if
mate, they've got through the first door.
If you've secured it using a wussy green staff door...
Oh, no.
It won't take them very long to get in there.
Oh, no.
And when they get in there...
Oh, no.
Now you've got... now you've got issues.
Oh, that is not what you want to see.
That's not what you want to see, right? This is. We were talking about game over.
Some of them have got 6-shooters.
Yeah, they can get shotguns. They can get pistols.
Oh no!
They're actually. Oh dear. Oh, they've killed that guard. So they're busting everyone out of solitary, aren't they? That's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, they're still rioting, but during a riot or during a mass escape, the armory becomes a primary target. So anyone that's nearby, like they won't come all the way over the map for it, but anybody that's reasonably nearby the armory and is a particularly dangerous prisoner, he will just go straight for the armory and try and break in.
Shit, man. So,
right, should we look at some other features?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we've got some other things to have. We have a new room type called a forestry. Right?
Okay.
Now, do you remember in Alpha 16 we put in the ability to chop down trees?
I do remember that. Yes.
And then process them in your workshop.
Yeah.
Into planks of wood. Well, now you can automate the process with a forestry.
Okay.
You create a forestry and you need to have gardeners. It's gardeners that do the work.
Right.
Eventually, I am going to make it so that prisoners can work in the forestry as well. But you can see that what happens is the forestry will automatically generate a lot of tree planting jobs.
Okay.
Like so. And a lot of trees will be delivered, tree saplings will be delivered to your jail, and your gardeners will plant tree saplings for you. And it takes ages for tree saplings to grow now. In the last alpha, I just got it completely wrong, and they grew in like a day, and you could harvest millions of dollars worth of tree in like 48 hours of work. So I've changed that now. But once the trees have reached once they've reached a fully grown age, they'll automatically be cut down.
Okay.
As well, and then the logs from the trees will be taken to your workshop and automatically processed into planks, and more trees will be planted in the forestry. So it's like it's like a production zone basically. It's actually a very efficient way to make long-term income for your prison. Oh, I should mention that I've got it sped up a little bit at the moment, so that's why these are growing at a ridiculous rate.
It's still growing quite quickly.
Yeah, it takes 5 days for a tree to fully grow, but I've got it hacked high at the moment for testing.
Okay, and video making.
Now we got to the point where our objects menu was getting a little bit ridiculous. Right, this is the objects list for the game now. See this list?
Yep.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's probably going to grow, isn't it? And
it's just going to grow. And like for the armory, for example, I might have not mentioned earlier that in order to have armed guards I did mention, didn't I, that you need to have
Yeah,
an armory
locks, yeah.
with lockers and weapon racks. That's 2 more objects I add to the list.
Yeah.
So we did do the system whereby useful objects automatically highlight. That already happens. But I've made another improvement, which is that the toolbar now filters based on what's useful.
Okay.
So this is what the objects menu looks like when it's filtered. Right?
Okay.
So you can see, as you scroll around the map, it actually changes what it shows you.
Oh wow, mate, that's good, isn't it?
So here we're looking at the armory, and you can see the weapons rack and the guard locker are included.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as we scroll away from the armory, they vanish, and other objects highlight.
Yeah,
See?
okay.
Past the shower block, here's the canteen, and it always highlights the objects that are... It always highlights and shows the objects that you need for that room type.
Yeah, okay.
See? So it's more like a
that's
dynamic
good.
toolbar. Now, if you want to place an object that's not in the list,
Yeah.
then you can just click on this little plus button, and you get the full list.
Okay, okay.
See?
That's good, mate. That's good. Nice user interface development.
Yeah, nice bit of user interface.
Yeah, lovely.
That is pretty much all of our new features.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. So as always, we'd love to get your feedback on Twitter, on Facebook, on the forums, all the rest of it. Let us know what you think about this update. That was Prison Architect Alpha 17 update. If you're not already playing, you can head over to prison-architect.com and join in, or you can pick it up on Steam. Until next time, signing off.
Isn't that like
No, she's
the
dead.
worst armed,
She's
the worst armed assault ever on any building ever?
Right, she didn't fire a single shot because they weren't shotgun shells, they were a knitted jumper, like I said.
Right.
And then they got beaten up.
That didn't work even slightly, did it? And now their prisoners are armed now. So that's...
Oh shit, this is the worst video we've ever made.
Now, anyway, so believe it or not, right? Believe it or not, that was intentional.
That was intentional.
It's all right. I can spin this, man. I can spin this.
Right,
right?
go on, man, get spinning.
Right.